Welcome to this hobby of horrors. I want to talk vatches with you. Ah ha 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 ha! Boulevard Royal Oak gold plated. Haters gonna hate, haters gonna ain't. Welcome to this hobby of ours for Hobby of Horrors. The Halloween episode every year is always a challenge. It's always fun getting to nitpick through the ugly watches or horrible watches for one reason or another over the past year. It's not something I really handle if you're a follower of the channel. I don't review watches that I don't like. Why sit around and bash someone's watch? It's not easy making a watch, and I'm not going to bash someone's work. Plus, what if you have that watch and you love that watch? I don't want to bash your watch, but every now and then, I gotta stick my head out and go a little bit out of my lane to address some that are, kind of comically bad to whatever degree that are, and that's what this is. Usually it was a top 10, but it's like, Halloween, top 13, duh. So we got 13 baddies this year, and sometimes it's a watch, sometimes it's process, sometimes it's both. Let's get to it, shall we? And just to get this one in and out as fast as possible, the latest Patek Cubulosity, the Cube one. Gosh, I don't know why everyone's flipping their biscuits about this. This watch is not that far afield of the Cartier Santos, and they have a green one, and it's Patek fans, is it because it's such a weird shape for you guys? Or is it because it's a $40,000 entry level? Gosh, no. And, pictures of Mark Wahlberg, Marky Mark, isn't going to make it any cooler for me, even though I think he's a fabulous actor. And he is definitely a Patek fanboy. You know what? You could... You could give this to Anna de Armas, have her knock on my door at Christmas with nothing but a red bow on, and it would still manage to ruin my Christmas somehow or another. Not for me, even if I was in the price band, even if I was offered one, just not for me. And I think that anyone who's buying, Not a Lie, or this thing, or Royal Oaks over list, I think you've kind of forgotten their mission statement. Back in the day, whether it was the AP or Patek or Genta, someone said, let's make a luxury watch in steel. Translation, let's make an expensive watch in steel. And I'm not saying it doesn't have finishing, and it is kind of a cool design, but their mission was to charge you more for steel. And that is a nice segue to my watch today. I haven't covered this one formally yet. Take it off your wristy, show the people. Okay. Gosh, love it, love it, love it. I have an episode planned for this one. It is clearly gold P because the underside, they didn't bother to plate it, but I got it at a magnificent price. I'm not in the market for a $30,000, $50,000, $70,000 Royal Oak, even though I admire the design. I have some thoughts about this watch and its place in history, and there are a bunch of other knockoffs, lookalikes, etc., etc. I'm not talking about the F watches, I'm talking about other companies that did, versions that were a little too similar to the OG, and that's in a forthcoming episode, so that one will come on later. So, yeah, Patek, this one's not for me. Next up, Blanc Pawn, 50 fathoms at 42 millimeters. Give me a call when you make it in 40. Nobody asked for this watch. I think that it's better than 44 or 45 or 46, whatever they were doing. And yes, it's a step in the right direction, but Blanc Pawn, make it 40 and price it better and steal all of the Rolex Submariner customers. That is your mission statement. You can't sell this watch for 14, 16 grand and expect to take subby customers, if someone already owns a sub, whatever, but like someone looking for a sub, I would totally switch to a Blanc Pawn if it was priced similar or within 1 to 2K of it. Not that I'm in the price band for either, but speaking generally, I think that's what Blanc Pawn needs to do. Number 11, Ulysses Nardin, the Nard Dog. The Freak One Ops edition. Borderline camo. Okay, it's not camo, but it's army green. Ops version of their most complicated watch. No. Just no. Although if it was in Highland green, forget about it. I would love it twice. I just don't. This is not a watch for the teams, and I don't know that anyone in that price band for that watch would necessarily like that. But if they do, so be it. Kind of cool. But I love the Freak watch. I hate the name. It's weird. It's freaky. And I think they could have come up with a much better name for it because it is epic. I've held them in person. They are beautiful, complex, and just wonderful. Stupid name, Nardog. A little too late to fix it, but oh well. Next up, the JLC price hike. Homie, don't play that. You can't play catch-up like that. It's like, okay, JLC didn't raise their prices lockstep with the industry and trend. Incrementally, 4% a year, year over year, whatever. They just dropped the 40% increase. And, from what I understand, research-wise, there was a time when you could get 20% off list as a discount. So that's a 60% swing. Thankfully, I got mine out of the used market because I think now that their new prices are so not great, the used market is going to be brought up by that. So if you have any aspirations for a JLC reverse or whatever, get one from the used market and get it quick. That's exactly what I did. I pulled the trigger when I wasn't really ready, a stretch goal to it. Glad I got it. Love that watch. And now I have mine and I don't have to worry about these price hikes, but it's like, dang.
Somebody's about to get up and slap.
Still love you, JLC. Zenith, coming in at number 9 with the Defy Orange. It's difficult to feature a brand on this list that you love, that you admire, that you own models of. But this Defy Orange, no, this design should have stayed in the 70s. You resurrected a design that was of its era and just plain not great and not fun to look at. I think I was most disturbed this past year as I saw other YouTube folks praising this design and not buying it. It's one thing to love it, buy it, share it, but just commenting, oh, this is wonderful, but then not go and buy it. I don't know. I kind of don't like that, and I love that brand. I just don't like this model. I have held it in person, but love you, Zenith. Love you, baby. But no to that design. Next up, we have a tie for 8, and I'm only allowing it as a tie because it's the same brand, Tudor. The pink chronograph for Beckham's Florida team. I don't know how it's all connected. I've heard it. I didn't feel like researching it. Right. This list is tough enough. But Pepto-Bismol dial, no. Although I will allow, if I was a super cool chick, I would rock that watch then. You have to be a certain kind of man to pull off pink. It's doesn't go with me. I've got an undertone of gold case on. It's not for me, and I don't think it's attractive. I think there are attractive shades of pink. Sometimes salmon dials can drift towards that. I don't care for the Pantone coloration of that dial, but it is also tied by their monstrosity release of the all gold Black Bay. Not that it's ugly, it's not. Rolex has all gold watches with green dials that are attractive. What's ugly is the price tag, or what's ugly is the idea, what's horrifying, I should say, is the idea that someone is going to spend 30 G's on a Tudor outside of the only watch fair, the one watch auction thing. No. I could see someone going for that there, and maybe that should have been their entry. You know what? Maybe that was going to be their entry for one watch, but then it went sideways because of all the investment or the money things, how they spent the money. I think that's been resolved. I don't know. Also didn't research it. But I'm also not pretending to be commenting on it from a news perspective in this episode. This is about vatches that are horrifying. Horrifying price point. Nope. Next, 7. Louis Erard X and Alan Silberstein Smile Day Gray. I have to confess, Alan Silberstein watches are my least favorite of any out there. If anyone was to ever ask me and put put me to task to explain why or what or wherefore, which is my least favorite designer. Unfortunately, it is our French artist, Alan. I hate the hands. Partly because handsets are my favorite in a watch. It's my favorite aspect of a watch, and I dislike it. However, I am going to challenge myself, and I'm almost done with the prep work for my Alan Silverstein episode. It's not going to be a bash episode. I challenged myself to find 3 of his watch designs that I could love, that I would own and operate. I've found 2, which is saying quite a bit. So I've got 1 more to go, and the first 2 are not in the mainstream design language of what it is he does, but I need to be more open to finding one that is possibly, first of all, in my price band, second of all, attractive for me. I need to get over that hump. Every designer has something to offer, and I don't want to be stymied by my first opinions of some of those goofy handsets. Anyways, that's they, Louis and Alan are coming in at 7. Number 6, the Trump watch. Go Trump, go, but stay in your lane, sir. I don't know. Gold tourbillon with diamonds. I don't know. I don't know that this was... I understand that campaigns cost something and there are ways to raise money. I don't know. I would not buy it. I'm not in the market for it. I don't know that you needed this one, sir, but by all means, go Trump, go. Next up, Tag Heuer, the Kith collab. I want to praise them for having the wherewithal to jump on the Moonswatch bandwagon, get some of that Moonswatch glory, but I didn't like these watches back in the day. I don't like them now. The playfulness of the design language is almost a combination of a block watch for a child and a Moonswatch thing, and at over $1,000, I don't know, that's a bit much for a fun watch, and at the end of the day, I don't find the design language of any of them attractive, except maybe the green one, obviously channel colors, but I don't know that this was necessary. I would love to know if it was successful for them. I want them to be successful, but I want them to do their great designs, and I want them to do dials with just Heuer on it, leave Tag off, if I'm being absolutely perfectly honest. Number 4, Audemars Piguet RE Master 02 self-winding 47K throwback to some severe design language of the 70s, just like Zenith Defy. I find this to be an unattractive design, certainly for the price point. There are a bunch of vintage watches that kind of look like this. You can find them on eBay. Old school, I can't remember any of the names, but they're out there, and I don't know that if I was in the market for an AP, not spending 47 grand for this one anymore than I would spend 40 grand from the Cumulosity from Patek. I don't like it. And the price is horrifying, but the design, I don't know, I guess it is kind of cool. It's as horrifying as it is. It's like it's on the hinge. It's like, dang, would I own it for 7K? No. I don't find it attractive. I think it's too dated. I don't know if this is based on one of their legacy designs. Okay, third time I didn't do my research, might be. But it's out now. Don't like it. That is number 4. Number 3. Somewhat controversial one. The Hodinkee Porsche Design collab. Now hear me out. First of all, Porsche Design is charging way too much for their titanium reissue. Their go-to-market strategy... if they would have released a titanium version, modern, at scale, not limited, in the 6 to 7K range, which, let's be honest, that's what it's worth at the high end, I think they would have crushed. I think that in a day where you can get one of the vintage pieces in great condition for half the cost, why would you get the new one unless you wanted the titanium, and still too much money? So Hodinkee comes along, puts their DNA into the mix, and thankfully they were mercifully light with just having a red H at the bottom. I want to praise them for that. That was a acceptable amount of DNA insertion into the design, but the kanji day wheel has to go. It makes no sense. Now, I love kanji day wheels. I have a number of Seikos with them, and if one has one versus not, Like, if it has English and kanji, I will get it all the time. I think it's beautiful. Can't read it, but it's beautiful. It just has no business in this particular watch. This watch was first released in Germany. So what this watch should be is English and German day wheel. No need for kanji. However, they even said on their website that it's a shout out to their Japan customer base, which means the guys in Japan are the ones who are going to be spending the extra premium over the 9 or 10 grand to buy it, which means they are pandering to a very select sector of the watch buying market. I don't accept that. I find that, frankly, horrifying. Is it the end of the world? No. Japan has one of the most robust racing communities out there. And I think it's great. If I was in Japan, I would absolutely want one. It just doesn't make sense for the release. Unless you wanted a second way to distinguish it from the primary release of Porsche design. You got the red H, big whoop, no big deal. I find myself talking myself out of these watches being on the list as I go, so I'm just going to stop there. All right, number 2. And to be fair, I can't wait to get to number 1. Number 2, the Moser and Studio Underdog collab. I saw these watches twice when I was in New York. Once at the wind-up at Studio Underdog, and the other time at Watch Time for Moser. I don't like the colors, but that's not why it's on the list. Yellow and grape, I don't know. The reason it's on the list is I don't know who this watch is for. It's not for the Studio Underdog crowd. Those watches, I think, 300 to 800, somewhere in there. All right, fourth time I didn't do my research. I think this group set is like 80 grand, 90 grand. And will the Moser buyer, number 1, like the colorway? Number 2, will they care enough about Studio Underdog in order to pay the premium for this Moser watch to get it to come along? Now, I think there's only 100, okay, fifth time. I think there's only about 100 of these sets out there or thereabouts, so it is limited. And I'm really happy for Studio Underdog. They have done so much with their brand in such a short amount of time, and their design language is great. And I think they're a fun watch. I need to buy one. I will be buying one. I just haven't picked mine yet. But I just don't understand this collab. I would love to, maybe if I read up on it, I would understand it better. I don't think it makes sense, and so that's why it made it on the list. And but I am rooting for both. I'm rooting for Moser. I'm rooting for Studio Underdog. I just don't understand the purpose of the collab. The number 1 horological horror for the year is the Cartier Santos Dual Time. No. You cannot put a Sellita into a $10,000 Cartier and expect to sell them. Sellita movements are amazing. They're awesome. But Cartier, well, here's the thing. Cartier does not have an in-house GMT complication. They don't have a GMT movement in-house. Even my GMT, my modded one, is an ETA. But Cartier, you don't charge the premium. Make it 7K or 6.5K like your others in the Santos line, and just let the fact that it's a dual time be a bonus for your customer base instead of trying to claim a premium on it. Now, I did put my name down for one way before I saw the episode on Talking Timepieces with Tony, his episode where he broke the news that this was a Sellita movement in there for 9-10 grand. And then it eventually came into the store and they called me, and I was so excited because I thought they were calling me about a Rolex GMT Sprite. Like, oh, hey, D, we've got one of these Cartier dual times in. You put your name down. I'm like, oh, sorry, I can't pay 10 grand for a Sellita. I just can't. And when I was in New York, I got to see one up close. I didn't shoot any footage in the store. They wouldn't have let me. But moreover, I could just tell from a bird's eye, friggin' huge. Way too huge for my wrist to begin with. So that alone, even if it was a Cartier decorated movement, caseback, Scout Knives, anything, whatever, it wouldn't be able to wear it. It would just be too big for me. So Cartier, I love you, girl. I love me some Cartier. But that 10 grand price point for what you're giving, you can't do that anymore. It's not like it's a quartz tank where you can go strictly by the fact that, you're paying for the art and the design as opposed to the movement. That argument's getting a little old now that those watches are north of 4 or heading there anyways. All right, that has been your horological horrors, your hobby of horrors. I want to say thank you for talking vatches with me, and hope that wherever you are in this wonderful, beautiful hobby, you're doing well, that you're blessed. Hope you enjoyed the fun. It was a ton of fun putting this together, even though I didn't do most of my research. Apologies for that. Haters gonna hate, ain'ters gonna ain't. All right, we'll catch you in the next one. Peace! If you'd like to support the channel, head over to hobbyofhours.com. We've got artwork, coffee mugs, hats, t-shirts, and even a watch book. 1001 Watch Designs, Volume 1. Over 1,000 designs in here. Steampunk, super futuristic, kaleidoscope, even super real ones. Watches that you could probably put on your wrist today. It's a great way to support the channel. Thanks for coming along on the ride.
Perfect.